stressed that the delay does not indicate that the deal is in peril. Mediation by Qatar facilitated the first truce in the near 7-week-long war. It is being seen as a sign of progress that could ease the suffering of civilians in Gaza and bring home more Israeli captives. The release of hostages, along with the 4-day pause in fighting, was originally set to begin Thursday morning. Under the deal, Hamas militants will release at least 50 hostages in exchange for at least 150 Palestinians jailed in Israel. Further, both Israel and Hamas also agreed to let aid into Gaza. Israel's chief military spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said there will be no pause in the fighting Gaza till the hostages are released on Friday. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also conveyed to the war cabinet that he plans to resume the Israeli offensive against Hamas as soon as the truce ends. However, Israel has said the ceasefire could be extended further if more hostages were freed. A Palestinian source said as many as 100 hostages in total could be released by the end of the month. The Israeli military said it has captured the headquarters of a Hamas brigade in Northern Gaza. It posted a video showing a cache of weapons in a 7-meter-wide tunnel. The army claimed that these weapons matched visuals of the ones that Hamas militants used in the October 7th attack. However, media agencies have not been able to confirm the authenticity of the video. United Nations Children's Agency UNICEF has said that the Gaza Strip is the most dangerous place in the world to be a child. UNICEF Executive Director Catherine Russell told the United Nations Security Council that more than 5,300 Palestinian children have been killed since October 7th. She added that in Gaza, the effects of the violence perpetrated on children have been catastrophic, indiscriminate, and disproportionate. Premature babies evacuated from Gaza are being treated in Egypt's Arish hospital 2 days after their transfer from the embattled enclave. Hospital authorities said they are preparing to receive more cases from Gaza. Some of the babies brought from Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital have been moved to other facilities. Meanwhile, foreign passport holders continued to pass from Gaza to Egypt through the Rafah border crossing on Wednesday, ahead of the truce between Israel and Hamas. The Israeli army has revealed visuals of a reinforced tunnel adjacent to the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza. It claimed the tunnel served as a command post for Hamas fighters. It was fitted with a bathroom, kitchen, and an air-conditioned meeting room. The Israeli army claimed the tunnel shaft was accessed through an outdoor shaft of the hospital complex grounds. They also claimed that the area used to be crowded with thousands of Palestinian civilians, implying that Hamas militants used them as human shields. Israel has long accused Hamas militants of using the Al-Shifa hospital complex as a command center to hide its forces among the civilian population. The population of Gaza is deprived of access to nourishment, clean water, and medical care. This is according to the World Health Organization. The WHO said 3/4 of residents have been internally displaced in their attempts to flee the fighting. The health agency has documented 178 attacks on medical facilities. 27 out of 36 hospitals have been forced to shut due to the destruction of basic infrastructure. World Health Organization added that the targeted attacks on medical facilities killed 533 civilians and injured 696 others. The casualties include 28 medical personnel. The commander of the Houthi Navy has warned that his forces will attack any Israeli ship that crosses the Bab al-Mandab Strait in the south of the Red Sea. He delivered his message from the commercial cargo ship Galaxy Leader that the Houthis seized in the Red Sea. Iran-backed Houthis have been firing long-range missiles at Israel in solidarity with Hamas. They seized the Galaxy Leader cargo ship on Sunday in the southern Red Sea. In response, the Israeli military deployed additional ships in the Red Sea to deal with the Houthi threat. The Yemeni rebel group is one of the many potential new war fronts that could erupt in the Israel-Hamas war. A Pakistani court has ordered former Prime Minister Imran Khan to appear for trial on November 28th on charges of leaking state secrets. This will be his first public appearance since he was jailed in August. The former cricket star has been embroiled in a tangle of political and legal battles since he was ousted as Prime Minister in a vote of no confidence in 2022, which he denounced as unfair. The 71-year-old was also jailed for 3 years for unlawfully selling state gifts during his tenure as Prime Minister. South Korean Marines have concluded 3 days of military drills aimed at enhancing defensive capabilities in the Northwest Islands region. The drills were conducted around an island located close to North Korea. They were held to prepare for all possible provocations in areas near the maritime border. Earlier, South Korea said North Korea fired a ballistic missile towards the sea on Wednesday night, but the launch likely failed. This was just hours after Seoul said it would resume frontline area surveillance in response to the North Spy satellite launch. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin in a G20 video call. Speaking alongside visiting Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Scholz said he asked Putin to withdraw his troops from Ukrainian territory to end the war. Scholz also welcomed the hostage deal in Gaza. Further, he expressed confidence that the German parliament will pass the 2024 budget soon. Italian Prime Minister Meloni said illegal migration needed to be fought at all levels and that Europe needed a new vision in dealing with African countries. The Ukrainian army has released footage showing the aftermath of a strike on a Russian Special Forces base. In a Telegram post, it said the strike targeted a Russian Special Forces commando point in Kherson region. Meanwhile, pro-Russian bloggers claim that Russian forces are holding Ukrainian forces near Kryniki village. Ukrainian military analysts, however, claim that Kiev's forces have defended the village and are advancing to the larger town of Oleshki in the south. Finland has closed down all but one border crossing with Russia amid an increase in arrivals of migrants from West Asia and Africa. Finland says Moscow is orchestrating these illegal migrations. Finnish border guards and soldiers began erecting barriers, including concrete obstacles topped with barbed wire at some crossing points. Around 600 migrants without proper visas and documents arrived in Finland in November, compared to a few dozen in September and October. The arrivals include residents of Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Kenya, Morocco, and Somalia. Kremlin has voiced regret about Finland's decision to close the checkpoints. The vice presidential candidate for Taiwan's ruling party has said that war with China is not an option. He said cross-strait communication is key to easing tensions that have raised concerns about the region's stability. Earlier this week, the Democratic Progressive Party announced Xiao Bikin as the running mate for its presidential candidate, Lai Ching-te. She was previously Taiwan's envoy to the United States and brings her deep connections in Washington to the campaign. China remains the focal point of Taiwan's January 13 polls as it steps up military pressure to assert its sovereignty claims. The far-right anti-Islam party of firebrand politician Geert Wilders has won a huge victory in a Dutch election. He is now the front-runner to form the next ruling coalition and become the next Prime Minister of the Netherlands. Beating all predictions, the exit poll puts Wilders' Freedom Party at 35 out of 150 seats, 10 seats ahead of the closest rival and former EU Commissioner Frans Timmermans' Labour-Green-Left combination. New Dutch NSC party, headed by veteran politician Peter Omtzigt, came in third with 20 seats. New Zealand's National Party has reached a deal to form a government with ACT New Zealand and New Zealand First. This ends weeks of political negotiations with the country under a caretaker government. The centre-right National Party won the largest share of votes in the October 14th general election. However, it needed the support of both right-wing ACT New Zealand and the populist New Zealand First parties to form a majority government. Negotiations dragged on as the three parties struggled with the political agenda for the coming 3 years and ministerial post allocations. The United Nations Refugee Agency has urged Pakistan to stop deportations of Afghans during the harsh winter season. Pakistani police are engaged in a stringent search and expel drive against illegal residents in the country. The United Nations agency has said the Afghans' return should be voluntary. It added that Pakistan should identify vulnerable individuals who need international protection. Last month, Islamabad announced it would expel over 1 million undocumented refugees. Over 370,000 Afghans have left Pakistan since October 1st. Pakistan is home to over 4 million Afghan refugees and migrants. Around 1.7 million are reportedly undocumented. A policeman was killed after Nihang Sikhs opened fire from a Gurudwara in Punjab's Kupatala on Thursday morning. 3 other policemen were injured. The incident took place when the policemen were arresting some Nihangs in Sultanpur in a case against them. Police personnel in large numbers have been deployed in the area. Officials said at least 30 Nihangs are still inside the Gurudwara. Ambulances are on standby for the rescue of the 41 men trapped in a tunnel in India's northern state of Uttarakhand. Rescuers are battling to pull out the men stuck in a 4.5-kilometer tunnel in the mountainous state since November 12th. The operation has involved drilling through the debris to push in, crawl through pipes, For the trapped workers, the machine had hit a metal obstruction. A metal cutter is being used to remove it. Authorities have said all men are safe with access to oxygen, food, water and medicine reaching them through a tube. Non-stop rain battered the coastal Tamil Nadu state in India. The weather department attributed the intense rainfall to a cyclonic circulation. 6 train services were cancelled after rocks and mud blocked the railway track. Traffic was also disrupted by falling trees and a landslide. The Tamil Nadu government has closed all schools in 7 districts. Overfilled glacial lakes has sparked fears of deadly floods that could wash out bridges and buildings and even wipe out land through the Hindu Kush, Karakoram and Himalayan mountain ranges that intersect in northern Pakistan. Now, according to the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, Himalayan glaciers could lose up to 75% of ice by the century's end due to global warming. Amid a shortfall in funding for those most vulnerable to the impact of climate change, village residents say they urgently need increased support to adapt to threats of glacial lake floods. Pakistan is the only country to receive adaptation funding from the Green Climate Fund, the Paris Agreement's key financing port, to ease the risk of such floods. Mexico City's mariachi musicians, clad in traditional cropped jackets, fill the streets with music in the annual celebration of their patron saint, Cecilia. The musicians gathered at the Mexico City hotspot, the Gibraldi Square, to attend a mass to observe Saint Cecilia. The mariachis originated in the 19th century in the western state of Jalisco, where they performed at festivals and weddings. Today, mariachis perform at weddings and on any occasion that's celebrated. Pikachu, Ronald McDonald, and many other balloons sprang to life on Wednesday, a day before the 97th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York. The parade is set to kick off at West 77th Street and Central Park today and end outside Macy's Herald Square on 34th Street at noon.
It really is.
Crypto prices today regained momentum. Bitcoin and the broader crypto markets have gained over 40% since their lows touched on October 11. Several experts believe the recent rally could be due to speculations of a Bitcoin spot ETF approval in the United States. According to market watchers, investors are regaining confidence in the market while putting their bets on the riskier assets, with optimism spurred by the Bitcoin spot ETF news. The global crypto market cap jumped to $1.42 trillion and its trading volume rose to $56.37 billion today. The Indian rupee edged up against the US dollar in opening trade amid a correction in crude oil prices and gains in local equities. The dollar index, which gauges the greenback's strength against a basket of 6 currency, was trading down. This after the greenback had strengthened after the Fed meeting minutes suggested a hawkish tone of the Federal Open Market Committee.